Hello students, so now we are going to solve the last section, that is part C biology of model question paper 1 2025-26 subject science. So this part also consists of 6 sections which consist of question number 11 to question number 16. So let's start. So now we are going to start with question number 16, and that is multiple choice question. This question consists of again 3 questions. Each carries 1 mark. So from this section we are going to get 3 marks. So question number 26, which is the first question of this part C biology. It is an enzyme that secretes by the pancreas to digest protein is. So here we have to write the enzyme, or we have to mark the enzyme which is secreted by pancreas which digests protein. So the options are amylase, pepsin, trypsin and lipase. So as we know, once the food enters into the mouth, it moves from mouth to esophagus to stomach to small intestine. So while going into the small intestine, pancreas secretes some juices, pancreatic juices, through which some of the enzymes which enter into the food. So we have to find out the enzyme which digests protein. So the answer is the pancreas secrete pancreatic juice which contains enzymes like trypsin for digesting protein and lipase for breaking down emulsified fat. So here we can see pancreas secrete 2 enzymes. One is trypsin and one is lipase. Trypsin is used to digest protein and lipase is used to digest or break down emulsified fat. So therefore our correct option is here option C. So write down the answer option C, and it is trypsin. We'll move to the next question. Question number 27. In a zygote, there are 24 pairs of chromosomes. Then, the number of chromosomes present in the gametes are. So, see the question. Here they have given zygote has 24 pairs of chromosomes. 24 pairs means one pair has 2 chromosomes. And we have to find out the number of chromosomes present in gamete. So, the options are 24 pairs, 48, 6 pairs and 24. So as we know, zygote is formed by the combination of male and female gamete. So zygote is nothing but a cell which is formed by the combination of male and female gamete. And in this zygote, according to the question, it has 24 pairs of chromosome. Means it has got 24 chromosomes from male and 24 chromosomes from female, and both together after combining it became 24 chromosome, and therefore your answer should be it is D, that is 24, because if you see A it is 24 pairs, if you see B it will be 48, 48, 48 it will be then, so that it will be 48 pairs, but we want a 24 pairs, and therefore our correct answer is option D. So write down answer option D, it is 24. We'll move to the next question. Question number 28. Observe the figure given below. Name of the part X and its function is. So here we have to name the part X and we have to see what is the function of that part, that is X. So you can see this diagram. Here it is axon and here it is dendrites, and this is the gap between axon and dendrites which has been labeled X. So we have to find out what is this X and what is the function of this. So as we know, the gap between the axon and the dendrites is always called synapse. So as we know our neuron, so imagine this is our one of the neuron, and here this is the axon, and these are the nerve endings, and these are called dendrites. This will be branched like this. So this is one neuron, we can draw it like this, nucleus. Then the next neuron will be here. So like this we can draw one rough diagram. I am drawing just to explain you all. So this is again the nerve ending of this neuron. These are the dendrites of this neuron. Second neuron, this is the nucleus. So see here, this is one neuron This is another neuron. So the message transfers from one neuron to the second neuron with the help of this nerve ending, means this axon which is coming, which is ending at the nerve ending. So from here to the dendrites of the next neuron. So I hope you can understand. So this is the gap they are asking. So this is the gap which is given in the question. So this gap which you can see in the question, it is nothing but this gap. And this gap is also called as synapse. As we know, it is called as synapse. So we have to focus on this first. So see our options. Where is synapse? So if you see the options, option A is neuron. So this is the wrong one. Option B is synapse. So we can focus on option B. Option C is again neuron. So we cannot consider this. Option D is again synapse. So we have to focus on option B and option D. And for this, we have to see the role. What is the function of this synapse? So you can see the B option. It transmits electrical signals generated at the axon terminal to dendrites, and option D says transmits chemical signals generated at the axon terminal to the dendrites. So we have to find out what is the correct one. For this, the answer, the general scheme of how nervous impulse travel in the body is the information acquired at the end of the dendritic tip of the nerve cell sets of chemical reaction that creates an electrical impulse. This impulse travels from dendrites to the cell body and then along the axon to its end. Means here these chemical signals are converted into electrical signals, and these electrical signals will travel like this from the axon till the nerve ending. So in your cell body, there all will be chemical impulses here outside. Those will be converted into electrical signals. These electrical signals will travel through the axon and comes to the synapse. Here these electrical signals again converted into chemical signals, and therefore here if you see, these chemical signals are transferred from axon to dendrites. Remember this, from axon to dendrites chemical signals will transfer, and from dendrites to axon electrical signals will transfer. So if you see the answer, option D, transmit chemical signals generated at the axon terminal to the dendrites, and therefore our correct option is option D. So we have to write it option D. Write down the answer. Synapse transmits chemical signals generated at the axon terminal to the dendrites. So always remember, in axon electrical signals will transfer, and in synapse from end of the nerves to the dendrites of the other neuron, here chemical signals will transfer. So maximum time these questions will be asked. That is, what are the functions of this synapse? So you should remember this. So in synapse always chemical signals will transfer. So this is the answer, that is option D. Now the next section, that is question number 17. Answer the following questions. And here we have to answer again 3 questions. Each carries 1 mark, so total marks we will get 3. Question number 29 will start. What is the importance of xylem tissue in the plants? So as we know, complex tissue we have 2, that is, one is xylem and one is phloem. So here the question is, we have to write down the importance of xylem. So the answer is, it helps to transport water upward from the roots to all parts of the plant. So as we know, xylem helps to transport water and phloem helps to transport food. So water will be in the ground and that will be absorbed by the roots, and it has to be transferred to all the parts of the plant. So once the water reaches to all the parts, even through these all leaves, the water will be evaporated due to the sunlight. And because of that, continuously water should be supplied to each and every part of the plant. And that's why xylem will do this work, that is transporting water. With water, it also transports nutrients. So this is the answer for question number 29. The next question, question 30. Observe the table below showing different forms of pea plants. So here they have given the table. In first column it is seed color. In second column it is flower position. So in seed color we can see here it is green and yellow, and in flower position we can see middle of stem, that is A, and top of the stem it is small a. So you can see here green, that is capital G, is dominant gene, yellow, that is small g, it is recessive. Middle of the stem is capital A, that is dominant, and top of the stem is small a, that is recessive. And we always know that dominant gene will express itself and recessive gene will depress. Means dominant gene will show its character. So now see the question. Write the indicator of the trait having green seed and flowers at the top of the stem. So we want our seed should be in green color. Green color means which is the green color here. Capital G is the green. So G should be there. If you take small g then it will be yellow. But we want green, so therefore we should take capital G. Then the position of the flower is top of the stem. Where is top of the stem? Top of the stem is nothing but small a. If you take middle of the stem, capital A, then it will be the flower will be at the middle. We want top, so that's why we should take small a. So our combination is capital G and small a, and therefore the answer is green seeds as we want according to question, capital G, flowers at the top of the stem, that is small a, and therefore by combining these two the answer will be capital G and small a. This is the indicator. We'll move to the next question. Question number 31. How is the binary fission in amoeba differs from budding in hydra? So this is the question from reproduction. That is, we have asexual reproduction and sexual reproduction, two types. In asexual reproduction we can see different type of reproduction processes. In that one of the process is fission, and fission is of two types. One is binary fission and one is multiple fission. So here the question is we have to write the differences between binary fission and budding, which is again a asexual reproduction process which can be seen in hydra. So here the answer, binary fission in amoeba and budding in hydra. So what is binary fission? Write down definition first as the difference. Binary fission produces two parts as the meaning bi means two. So two parts from which grows into a new organism. Means amoeba will divide into two and those two parts will grow individually as a new organism. So this is the first definition of binary fission. Then this side we have to write the definition of hydra, that is budding in hydra. Budding involves a small outgrowth or bud forming on the parent cell and later detaching to form a new individual. So as the method says, budding means what? Formation of bud. So small outgrowth will develop onto the parent cell, which is called as bud, and once it becomes mature, it detaches. It gets cut from the parent body and try to grow by its own. That is, it will become a new individual. So this is called as budding. So this is first difference. Now the second difference, it is a type of asymmetric division. So here, it is a type of symmetric division. So here your amoeba will equally divide. Like for example, nucleus will divide equally into two parts. All the cell organelles will become double and half of the cell organelles will remain in one amoeba and half of the cell organelles will go to the another amoeba. So it is called as symmetric. But in case of budding, if you see, it is asymmetric. So here there will not be a equal division or equal separation of all the constituent elements present into the cell. So it is called as asymmetric division. So these are the two differences between binary fission and budding. There are many more other differences that also you can write. So these two which I have written here. We'll move with the next question. Now next the question number 13. Answer the following questions, and here we have to answer two questions. Each carries 2 marks, so total marks we are going to get here 4, and also we have option here. We have OR option for some of the questions. So question number 32. Name the following. So 1. Structures that prevent the collapsing of air passage part of trachea in the humans. So as we know the respiratory system of the human being, once the air enters from the nostril, so imagine here there are the nostrils. Once the air enters into the nostril, it goes into the nasal cavity and then it enters from this passage which is called as trachea. So this pipe which is called as trachea it has some C-shaped like this cartilaginous tissue. So like this, and these all cartilage which is present, which is called as rings of cartilage, and these tissue will help to prevent the collapsing of this air passage, means this trachea. So therefore, here our answer is rings of cartilage. You can see the answer. Rings of cartilage are present in the throat, which ensure that the air passage does not collapse. So I'll show you once again. So this is the passage. Imagine this is the passage called trachea, which is also called as the air passage, which is present in throat. So this will have like this ring shaped or C shaped cartilage, which is also called as ring of cartilage, like this, and due to this it prevent the collapsing of this passage, and that is the answer which you have to write it here. Now the next one, second, nitrogenous chemical that are separated from the blood by the kidney. So as we know, like how we have seen in case of blood, from blood CO2 will be removed out and O2 will be added. So here CO2 is the waste product which is present in the blood. So as we are removing CO2 from the blood, same in that way, we have to remove some of the nitrogenous waste, and those are urea and uric acid. So here the answer is nitrogenous waste such as urea or uric acid are removed from the blood in the kidney. So this is the answer for question number 32. So name the following they have asked. Name means just you have to write the name. So first answer is rings of cartilage and second is urea or uric acid. Now we'll move with the next question. The next question is or for 32 one. In which of the in which form the excess glucose is stored in plants and animals? So in plants and animals, glucose is stored in excess in which of the form that we have to tell. So answer, carbon dioxide and water is converted into carbohydrates in the presence of sunlight and chlorophyll. This is called as photosynthesis. So in case of plant, with the help of carbon dioxide and water and with the help of sunlight and chlorophyll, carbohydrates are produced, which are utilized for providing energy to the plant. Means some of the carbohydrates which are formed are used by the plant for its growth, and remaining it will store and stored in the form of starch. So remaining whatever glucose it's there, carbohydrate is there, all will be stored in the form of starch. This is in case of plant. Whereas in human, some of the energy derived from the food we eat is stored in our body in the form of glycogen. So when we have food, we will prepare energy from that food, and that energy, some of the energy will be used by the body to do the work, and remaining energy will be stored in the form of glycogen. So this is the answer. So for plant it is starch, and for human it is, that is for animals it is glycogen. So here the question B, what we have answered is question A, and now the question B, name the structures of the human small intestine that absorbs digested food. So see the answer. Once the food enters, as we know, once the food enters into the mouth, some of the food will be digested, starch will be digested, then the food enters into the stomach, and from the stomach then it enters into the small intestine. So in small intestine, the food whatever comes, it will be digested food. So that digested food will be get absorbed into the small intestine. We have to name which is that part which will absorb or helps in absorption. Digested food is taken up by the walls of the intestine. So we can see here the intestine wall. So imagine this is the intestine, and this intestine wall here inside it will be having number of hair-like projections like this. So I'll draw these lines. So from all the sides of this small intestine from inside, there will be number of small hair-like projections. And these all hair-like projections are called villi. And this is the part which will help to absorb the digestive material. If you zoom it and see, it will look like this. So imagine this is the wall of the intestine. So this is one villi, this is second villi, this is third. So this is the surface area of the villi, which can absorb, because these all villi will be having blood capillaries from the inside. So these all blood capillaries will help to absorb the digested food. So now see what happens. So imagine this is the food which is moving from the small intestine. So these all capillaries will go and absorb these food materials from with the help of this villi. So see the answer. The inner lining of the small intestine has numerous finger-like projections. Why finger-like? Just to increase the surface area. So here I have written projections called villi which increase the surface area for absorption and helps in absorption of food. So this is the answer. Here the question is just you have to name the part. The name is villi. If it is asked what is the role, then you have to write it increases the surface area for absorption and helps in absorption of the food. So this is the answer for question number 32. Now we'll move with the next one. Now question number 33. Why does the stem of a growing plant bends towards the light? Explain. So this question again has a or option. First we will see the first question. So here we have to answer why does the growing stem of a growing plant bends towards the light? So the answer is when growing plants detect light, a hormone called auxin synthesized at the shoot tip helps the cell to grow longer. So as we know, there are many hormones which are present in the plant which will help for many of the functions in the plant like auxin, gibberellin, cytokinin, etc. So here the role of auxin is it helps to grow. So when it detects lights, it starts secreting. The plant starts secreting auxin, and this auxin will help to grow that stem longer. Now the second point. When the light is coming from one side of the plant, auxin diffuses towards the shady side of the shoot. So once the light comes and falls on the plant, the area of that plant will detect the light and secretes the auxin. But that auxin will diffuse backward or shady part of the shoot. So imagine this is the plant and here we have sun. So when the sunlight falls on the plant, the tissues which are present here will detect the light. And here auxin will be secreted. So imagine this is the auxin which is secreted. But this auxin will be diffused to the shady part, means backside of this part. So it goes this side. So all the auxins comes and settle here. So the growth action will be processed in this area. So whatever growth takes place, that all takes place in this area. That is called shady part. So see the next point. This concentration of auxin stimulates the cells to grow longer on the side of the shoot which is away from the light. So actually if you see, this is the part which is towards the light and here auxin will be secreted, but this auxin will diffuse or will be diffused to the backside or shady part of the plant, and therefore whatever growth will occur, that all will be stimulated in this area, and therefore it appears to bend towards the light. So from this side growth will be faster and the plant will looks like it is bending towards the light. So this is the answer. Try to write answers in the points. It will be easy for correction to the teachers. So this is the answer for 33. Now we'll move with the OR section. Now the OR section question is write any two differences between central nervous system and peripheral nervous system. So nervous system consists of two types. One is central and one is peripheral. Central means main nervous system. Peripheral means the nervous system which is present in peripheral area or beside area of this brain. So the difference is what we have to write it here. They have asked at least two difference we have to write. So the first difference, it consists of brain and spinal cord. So what is central? What is main nervous system? It is consists of brain, which will control the face part of the human body, and spinal cord which will control the actions which are took place into whole body. So below the head whatever actions takes place, those all will be controlled by spinal cord. So therefore it consists of brain and spinal cord. And peripheral nervous system which consists of nerves that arises from the brain and spinal cord. So imagine this is the brain and this is the spinal cord. So this is the main central nervous system, and the nerves which are coming from the brain are called as cranial nerves, which will all control the parts which are present in the head, and the nerves which are coming from the spinal cord, which controls all the actions which takes place all over the body, are called as spinal nerves. So therefore the second difference is brain and spinal cords are continuous. Here they are continuous, but cranial nerves originate from the brain and spinal nerves originate from the spinal cord. There will be no connection between the cranial nerves which are in the head, these are cranial, and the nerves which are here, which are called as spinal nerves. So there will be no connection between these two nerves, but there is a connection between brain and the spinal cord. So that's why second difference is brain and spinal cord are continuous with each other. Cranial nerves originate from the brain and spinal nerves originate from spinal cord. So these are the two differences which we have to write for this question. Now we'll move with the next question. So now we are going to start with question 14, that is answer the following questions. Here we have to answer 3 questions. Each question carries 3 marks. So total marks we are going to get from this section is 9. Question number 34 we will start, which has again A and B part. We will start with A part first. Ozone layer is a boon to the life on the earth. Justify. So we have to give the reason for this sentence. As we know, ozone is a deadly poisonous gas. What is ozone? Ozone is nothing but O3 gas. So it is a deadly poisonous gas. However, at the higher level of the atmosphere, ozone performs an essential function. Means in the atmosphere at the highest level we have ozone layer, and this is performing a very important function. It shields the surface of the earth from ultraviolet radiation from the sun. Means from sun we are getting many type of radiations like ultraviolet, X-ray, UV rays, radio waves, microwaves, etc. So these all the radiations are coming from the sun, and when they are coming from the sun, from those all the radiations, only UV radiations are getting shielded by this ozone layer. Means ozone layer is preventing these UV radiations to come on the earth. This radiation is highly damaging to the organism. Actually, this UV radiation is very dangerous to the organism because it causes skin cancer, especially in human beings. And because this ozone layer is preventing these radiations to come on the earth, we all are safe from this UV radiations, and like this we can say that ozone layer is a boon to the life on the earth. So if you see, if imagine this is the earth and this all it is atmosphere. So in this atmosphere at the highest level, so imagine this is the highest level. So this is nothing but ozone layer occupied by ozone. Ozone is nothing but O3 gas. And somewhere here imagine we have sun. From sun many radiations, electromagnetic radiations are coming on the earth. So in these all there is X-ray, there is UV, there is visible, radio waves, microwaves, etc. So these all radiations enter from this ozone, but only UV radiations are prevented. UV radiations are not allowed to enter from this ozone layer. If these all comes and hit on the earth, if they come in contact with the human skin, then they cause the skin cancer. And because of the ozone, these all are preventing to enter into the earth atmosphere, and therefore this ozone layer, it is the boon to the life on the earth. So we have to write this answer for this question. Now we will see the next, that is B question. Question B is, the organism of which trophic level in the food chain are most affected by biological magnification and why? So in any trophic level or food chain, which organism is mainly affected by biological magnification, and we have to give the reason for this. So the answer is, first we will see what is biological magnification. The accumulation of harmful chemicals. Harmful chemicals means like pesticides or insecticides. So accumulation of these harmful chemicals in the topmost organism of the trophic level or food chain is called biological magnification. And human being the topmost level organism in any food chain, maximum concentration of these chemicals will be in our bodies. So as we all know, in any trophic level, first there will be producers which will prepare the food, and then the next will be primary consumer. Then the next level will be of secondary consumer, and then the highest level will be occupied by tertiary consumer, and tertiary consumers will be mostly human beings, which is occupying the highest level in any trophic level or food chain. So producers will prepare the food. So while preparing the food, these producers will absorb more amount of harmful substances like pesticides or insecticides. These all pesticides or insecticides will pass into the primary consumer. From primary consumer, it will be passed to the secondary consumer, and then the highest amount will be passed to the tertiary consumer, and that is nothing but human being. And this accumulation of harmful chemical is called as biological magnification. And because we can see human being on the highest level, humans are the organism which is getting more affected by biological magnification. Now we'll see question 35, that is explain. So the first one, it is again A and B. So first we will solve with A. The determination of the height of a plant by gene. So here it is said that height of the plant is determined by gene, and we have to explain this sentence. So see the answer. Genes carry the instruction for synthesizing proteins including enzymes. So genes are the most important factor which will have the instruction for synthesizing proteins and enzymes. So which protein should be synthesized, or which enzyme should be synthesized, that all will be decided by the gene. So genes are the main important factor, and these enzymes are important for biochemical reactions, and these biochemical reactions will decide the plant growth. So automatically gene will give the instruction for enzyme secretion, and if the enzyme is secreted, then the biochemical reaction takes place and plant growth will take place. And specific enzyme will regulate a specific gene will regulate a specific enzyme, and with the help of this enzyme a specific process will take place. So if you want to see the plant growth or the plant height, if you want to increase, then there should be cell elongation or cell division. For this cell elongation and cell division, we require a specific enzyme that will be synthesized with the help of specific gene. So these all are connected with each other. So therefore we can say like this: if the production of enzyme causing cell division is more, then the height will increase. Means the enzyme which is responsible for cell elongation should be secreted, then only the height will increase. And for that enzyme, the gene which is responsible, that should give the instruction. So if the gene gives the instruction, enzyme will be secreted. If the enzyme is secreted, cell elongation takes place, and with the help of this, height of the plant will increase. If the gene is not giving the instruction, enzyme will not be secreted, cell elongation will not take place, and plant height will not increase much. And this is the answer for this A question. Now we will see question B. The determination of the sex of the male child in human being. So how to determine the sex of the male child, we have to explain here. So see the answer. In human being we have 23 pairs of chromosome. In these 23 pairs of chromosome, 22 pairs of chromosomes are normal chromosomes which are called as autosomes, which will decide all the characters of the human being which are transferring from one generation to next generation, like skin color, length of the hairs, two legs, skin color, etc. So these all will be decided by these autosomes, and one pair will be called sex chromosomes. So in male we have X and Y as a sex chromosome. In female we have X and X as a sex chromosome. This is very important, you have to remember. In male we have two different sex chromosomes, X and Y. So some sperms will be having X chromosome, some sperms will be having Y chromosome. But in female all the eggs will be having only X chromosome. Now, in human being, sex of the child is depend upon which kind of male gamete fertilizes with the female gamete. Means which sperm will come and fuse with the ovum or egg. If X comes and fuse with the egg, then it will be XX. If Y comes and fuse with the egg, then it will be XY, and that will be decided, and that will help to decide the sex of the child. So see, here we can see in detail. So we can write like this. So I'll write it here, male who has X and Y as a sex chromosome. Here we will write female who has X and Y as sex chromosome. Sorry. In female we have both same, that is XX. Now see, some sperms will be having X chromosome, some sperms will be having Y chromosome. But in females all the eggs will be having X chromosome. When the fertilization takes place, sperm and egg will get fused to form a zygote. So if the sperm having X chromosome fuses with the egg having X chromosome, then the child will have X and X as a sex chromosome. If the sperm having Y chromosome fuses with the egg having X chromosome, then the child will have X and Y as a sex chromosome. Then XX is nothing but a girl and XY is nothing but a boy. And in this way we can decide the sex of the child. So here in question they have asked sex of the male child. So remember, if the child has X and Y chromosome, then the child will be a boy. And when this will take place, if the sperm having Y chromosome fuses with the egg having X chromosome, we will get a boy or a male child. So this is the answer for question B. Now the next question, that is OR question. A red flowering pea plant, that is capital R, which is dominant, is crossed with a white flowering pea plant, that is small r recessive. So these two plants are different. One is dominant and one is recessive. Show the result of F2 generation with the help of checkerboard. Write phenotypic ratio and genotypic ratio of the plants obtaining in F2 generation. So we have to write the checkerboard for F2 generation and then write phenotype and genotypic ratio. So we'll start the answer. So first we are going to see F1 generation. So I'll write it here, F1 generation. In question they have asked F2 generation, but we will go step by step so that we can understand this answer very easily. And in any question paper in different exams, if they ask any other characters also, you can answer the questions. So we'll start with F1 generation. So they have asked red flowering plant. So here if you focus the question, they have used only one character, that is color of the plant. So it is a monohybrid cross. So that also we can write it here. So it is a mono hybrid cross. Mono means single. single character is considered. That's why it is called monohybrid cross. So we will start. So F1 generation. We have took first red flowering plant. So I'll write red flower. So red flower, the genes are capital R, it is homozygous. Then we have white flower. So I'll write it here, white flower. And for this we have small r, small r. This is also homozygous. But this capital R is dominant and small r is recessive. So now the write down the genes R. Here we will get small r. Both are crossed and we will get capital and small r in our F1 generation. If you focus this capital R and small r, capital R is the dominant one and therefore all the plants will get red flowers in F1 generation. So all the flowers will be red in color in F1 generation, and this is cross pollination because we have used two different plants. This is a cross pollination. Now we are going to use this for the F2 generation. So next we are going to start with F2 generation. So in F2 generation we are going to use the plants which we have got in F1 generation. So now take red flower which we have got in F1 generation. So we will write the genes capital R and small r. Now see, it is heterozygous. Earlier plants were homozygous, now it is heterozygous. Take one more red flower. This is also again heterozygous. Now see, the possibility of gene is capital R, small r. For this plant also it is capital R, small r. And now we have to cross these two plants. Now see, now this actually plants is same only. So therefore here we can write it is self-pollination. Self-pollination. Now this crossing we have to show with the help of checkerboard. So write down your gene capital R, small r, capital R and small r. Now when these are self-pollinated, fertilization takes place. The possibility of genes are RR, R and small r, capital R and small r and small r. How we got this? First we have crossed this and this, capital R, then we have crossed with this capital R with this small r, so we got this capital R, small r. Then for the next one, what we did is this R we have combined with this R, so we got R, and last here this R we have combined with this R, so we got two small r's, and like this we can complete our checkerboard. Now we'll write the characters. Now here capital R and capital R, it is dominant, so all the flowers will be red and it is homozygous. Then capital R and small r is nothing but it is also giving red flowers, but it is heterozygous. Then small r and small r is nothing but white flowers. White flowers. So it is homozygous but recessive. So all the flowers will be of white color. Now if you see genotype and phenotype ratio. So genotype ratio means we have to focus on the genes. So if you focus on the genes, so you see here, this is 1, capital R. Then capital R, small r, here is 1 and here is 1. So we have 2, and small r we have 1. So it is nothing but 1 is to 2 is to 1. Therefore genotypic ratio is 1 is to 2 is to 1. So here this 1 is capital R, this 2 is capital R, small r, and this is R and R. Now the next is phenotypic ratio. So I'll write it here. Phenotypic ratio means physically how it looks, which color, that we have to write it here. So if you see, wherever there is a capital R, it is red color. So this is red, this is also red, this is also red. So these all three are red and only one is white. So here the ratio is 3:1. So we can write 3:1. And in this 3:1, 3 is red and 1 is for white. So this is the answer for OR question. Now we are going to move with the next question. Now the next is question 36, that is name the hormones that perform the following functions. So here functions have been given and we have to write the hormone name. First one, controlling the sugar level in the blood. So which hormone will control the sugar level in the blood? The hormone is insulin. Insulin is the hormone which is produced by the gland called pancreas and helps in regulating the blood sugar level or sugar level in the blood. So, second one, prepare the body to deal with emergency situations. Emergency situations means either to run away or to fight with the situation. For both the situation, we require more amount of energy and that's why it is called as emergency situation. So here the hormone helping us is adrenaline. Adrenaline which is secreted by the gland called adrenal gland. So when this hormone is secreted, much amount of oxygen is supplied to our muscles in which that oxygen is used to break the glucose and prepare more amount of energy. With the help of that energy, we can handle the emergency situation. So here the hormone is adrenaline. Third question, controlling the fat, protein, carbohydrate metabolism means the day-to-day activities means metabolism. So digestion of this fat, protein and carbohydrate to get more amount of energy, that is controlled by which hormone? And the hormone is thyroxine, which is secreted by thyroid gland, the gland which is present in the neck. This will be secreted, this gland will secrete the hormone thyroxine and this will control the digestion or metabolism of carbohydrate, proteins and fat so that it can provide the best balance for the growth. Means proper growth can take place with the help of this hormone. So this is the answer for question number 36. Now we'll move to the next question. Now the next question is question number 15 and which says answer the following question. You have to answer only one question which carries 4 marks. So total marks we are going to get 4. Question number 37. Draw a diagram showing schematic sectional view of a human heart and label the following parts. So here we have to draw the diagram of heart and then we have to label septum and right atrium. So this is the diagram which you can see which I have taken from NCERT book. So here this diagram have all the labeling, but in this question they have asked septum and right atrium. So what are the labelings actually which we have to prepare for the diagram is, we have right atrium, left atrium, right ventricle, left ventricle. Then we have vena cava. We have two vena cava, upper body, the vena cava from upper body that is called superior vena cava, vena cava from lower body that is called inferior vena cava. The separation between left and right part of the heart is called septum. Then we have pulmonary vein, pulmonary artery and aorta. So these all are the labelings of this diagram. But in this question they have asked only two. So now we can mark these two. So here it is asked right atrium. So we have to write this right atrium and then we have to write this septum. So in this exam they have asked these two labeling, but in other exam they may ask the other labeling. So whenever you practice in your home, you practice with all the labelings so that you can answer any question, any such type of questions in your exam. So now we'll start with question number 16. Answer the following questions. Here we have to answer one question which carries 5 marks. So question number 38. List the 3 methods of contraception that are usually followed by human beings. So here the answer is contraceptive methods. The process of preventing pregnancy, it can be achieved by stopping fertilization. So contraceptive methods are the methods which are used to avoid or prevent pregnancy in human beings. So here this can be done by stopping fertilization, and we have to see the methods which can stop the fertilization. So here we have three methods. One is mechanical method, second is surgical method, and third is chemical method. So first we will start with mechanical method. It prevents entry of sperms into vagina. So here we have two methods. One is intrauterine contraceptive device, that is IUCD. You should remember the full form of this, that is intrauterine contraceptive device, like copper T. Copper T is one of the IUCD device which is used to avoid the pregnancy. So it is a loop inserted into vagina. So it is a loop it is a T-shaped loop which is inserted into the vagina of female, and which will not allow the sperms to enter into the vagina. Once the sperm enters into the vagina, started entering into the vagina, those copper ions will kill the sperms or will decrease the energy of the sperm, so that the next process will be stopped. Then the second method is condoms, where this can avoid the contact between the sperms and the egg. Second method is surgical method. Surgical method means here small surgery or the small operation will be done. Here this type of methods we can see in both, that is in males and females. In females it is called tubectomy, where it involves cutting and ligating reproductive organs like fallopian tubes. So fallopian tube is the one which carries the egg for the fertilization. So here we are going to cut that fallopian tube and we are going to ligate it, we are going to tie it. And this will be done in female, therefore it is called as tubectomy. In males it is called vasectomy, and this involves cutting and ligating of vas deferens. Sorry, it is involves cutting and ligating of vas deferens in male. So vas deferens, it is the tube which carries sperms from testis to the urinary bladder, and from urinary bladder it will be carried to the female body. So here this vas deferens, this tube which is carrying the sperm, it is cut and tied, and this is called as vasectomy. So this will be done in case of male. The third method is chemical method, where oral contraceptive pills are hormonal pills which prevent ovulation but do not stop menstruation. So chemical methods, as the name indicates chemical, here oral pills will be taken by the female which will prevent the ovulation, but it will not stop menstruation cycle. But this method has many side effects because this will affect the secretion of hormones in the female. So this has many side effects. So this is the answer for question number 38. Now we'll move with the next question. Now we are going to start with B. Same question, that is B. What is the function of the vas deferens and prostate gland in the human male reproductive system? So we know the human male reproductive system, which has a pair of testes, then which has vas deferens, then it has some glands like prostate gland, etc., and seminal vesicle. So here they have asked what is the function of vas deferens and prostate gland. So the answer is, first we will write for vas deferens. So as I told in the earlier question, the sperms are delivered through the vas deferens, which unites with the tube coming from the urinary bladder. So here, when the sperms are produced in the testes, those should be carried to the urinary bladder, and from urinary bladder they will be carried to the female body. And the process of carrying those sperms from testis to urinary bladder, it will be done by the tube which is called as vas deferens. Then the second one is seminal vesicle. Along the path of the vas deferens, glands like prostate gland and seminal vesicle add their secretion to the sperms. Now you can see here, when the sperms are moving from vas deferens, during this path there will be two glands which are present, which are called prostate gland and seminal vesicle. These two will secrete some secretions, and these all secretions will be added to the sperms which are moving from the vas deferens. So it is a fluid which makes their transport easier, and this fluid also provides nutrition. So as the sperms has to travel a long way to reach the ova or the egg in the female body, so its transport should be easier, and for this transport, and also they should get proper nutrition, they should be strong till they reach the egg, and for these two purposes this seminal vesicle and prostate gland both will secrete some fluids, and that is the role of this glands. So here this is the answer for question B. Now see question C. How does the menstrual cycle occur and explain? So see the answer. If the egg is not fertilized, so as we know, female will produce ova, that is egg, and males will produce sperm. When this egg and sperm will fuse, then the fertilization takes place. And at every month, there will be one egg released by every ovary. So here that egg should get fertilized. When the egg combines with the sperm, then only the fertilization takes place and the pregnancy will occur. But if the egg is not fertilized, then what happens? That we are going to see it here. So if the egg is not fertilized, it lives for about 1 day. So once the egg comes out of the ovary, once the ovulation takes place, that egg will remain into the fallopian tube. If it is not, it will wait for the sperm. If it is not fertilized, it will live for about 1 day. Since the ovary release one egg every month, the uterus also prepare itself every month to receive the fertilized egg. So as the egg is released from the ovary, immediately uterine wall also prepare itself to carry the fertilized egg. Prepare itself means what? It becomes, the lining of this uterine becomes thick, spongy. This would be required for nourishing the embryo if fertilization had taken place. So this uterus wall will become thick and spongy with the help of blood tissue, blood vessels, so that with the help of that all it can nourish the embryo if fertilization taken place. Now, however, this lining is not needed. If fertilization didn't take place, then this lining, which is thick and spongy, those blood vessels, are not needed any longer. So the lining slowly breaks and comes out through the vagina as blood and mucus. So whatever the uterus has got ready to carry that fertilized egg, it is already ready, but because egg has not got fertilized, immediately the wall of the uterus breaks and comes out through the vagina as blood and mucus. This is only called as menstruation. And as I told, every month one egg will be released from the ovary. So every month this uterus wall will be ready to carry the fertilized egg. Therefore, this cycle takes place roughly every month, and this known as menstruation. It usually lasts for about 2 to 8 days. So this is the answer for question C. Always remember these all the steps you have to write for this answer. Now we will move with the next question. Now the OR question, which consists of A. So write any two differences between self and cross pollination. So this is the question from reproduction of plants. So we have to write two differences between self and cross pollination. So what is pollination? Pollination nothing but transfer of pollen grain from anther to stigma is called as pollination. We have two type of pollination, one is self and one is cross. So we will write the differences. First difference will be the definition. So what is cross pollination? If the pollen is transferred from one flower to another flower, it is called cross. So remember, here the pollen is transferred from one flower to another different flower. So here two plants are involved, and that is called as cross pollination. In this case, sometimes the flower will be unisexual, means it will have only male reproductive organs or it will have only female reproductive organs. In such cases, cross pollination is involved. Then what is self? Self pollination means this is a transfer of pollen in the same flower. Means in the same flower, if there is a male and female reproductive organ both are present, then in the same flower itself, pollen will transfer from anther to the stigma, and it is called as cell, and this will take place in case of bisexual flowers. Then the second difference, cross-pollination require agents like wind, insects, water, etc. So as we have seen in the definition, the pollen will transfer from one flower to another flower. Means here two different plants are involved. So the pollen has to travel from one plant to another plant. And this, to transfer this pollen, we require agents, and it may be wind, insects, water, etc. Through wind, it may be that pollen will travel with the help of insect, like that pollen will get stick to the wings of the insect or the birds, etc. But in case of self-pollination, as the pollination takes place in the same flower, stigma and anther both are near to each other. Therefore, here external indicators or agents are not required. Then the third difference, promotes genetic diversity and results in new gene combination. So here what happens? Two different flowers are involved and two different flowers have different genes. They have different characters, and when they get pollinated, whatever new progeny will come, it will show diversity in their genes. But in case of self-pollination, the pollen from the same flower is getting fertilized with the egg or the ova of the same flower. So here genetic variability will not be seen. Minimum genetic variations we can see. So this is the difference, which is third one. As in the question they have asked only two differences, but you try to remember all three. If you remember these all three, you can write it. Whichever the teacher wants, she may correct it and she may give the full marks for this question. Now we'll move with the next question. Now it is B question. What are the changes that occur in a flower after fertilization? So once the pollen grain from the stigma enters to the ovary with the help of pollen tube, and then it will go and fuse with the egg and fertilization takes place. So after this fertilization, what will happen in the flower, that we have to write. So number one, after fertilization, zygote divides several times to form an embryo within the ovule. So here, what is fertilization? Nothing but fusion of a pollen grain and the egg, male and female gamete. So once it gets fused, zygote will be formed, and this zygote will start dividing several times and then it convert into embryo in the ovule. Next, the ovule develops a tough coat. Now this ovule will get covered with a tough coat covering and is gradually converted into seed. And this ovule now becomes seed. Now you maybe have seen the seeds. Always seeds will be having a tough cover, and that tough cover is nothing but this only. The ovary grows rapidly and ripens to form a fruit. And this ovary which is there beside the ovule, that all will grow rapidly and convert into a fruit. So you maybe have seen a mango. Inside there will be a hard coat, and that inside that hard coat will be one seed. But after that hard coat, beside the hard coat, there will be one fleshy fruit-like material, and that is only the ovary. Meanwhile, the petals, sepals, stamens, style and stigma may shrivel and fall off. Means when this ovary becomes fruit and ovule becomes seed, petals, sepals will not have any work. These all will do the work till fertilization, and therefore once the ovary is converting into fruit, ovule is converting into seed, these all will fall off. The seed contains the future plant or the embryo. So seed is the main part which is going to give the future plant, one more new individual, which develops into seedlings under appropriate conditions, and this is known as germination. So this seed which is formed, if that seed is sown again in a soil, and if you put water, if you give proper condition, that will start growing once again to give a new individual, new plant, and this process is called as germination. So this is the answer for this question. Always remember, try to write the answers in the points it will be easy to read and give the marks for the teacher. Now the next question, mention any four advantages of vegetative propagation. So as we have seen in fertilization chapter or reproduction chapter, we have two types of reproduction, asexual reproduction and sexual reproduction. In asexual reproduction, we can see this vegetative propagation. So what is vegetative propagation? Here we are using vegetative parts of the plant, like it may be leaves, it may be stem, it may be root, etc. So these parts we are going to use for the preparation of next generation or continuation of the generation. So it is called as vegetative propagation. So it has some advantages or it may have some disadvantages, but in this question they have asked advantages. So see the answer. First one, plant reach maturity, flowering, fruiting much faster than those grown from the seeds. So always remember, when you use seed, first you will sow the seed into the soil, then you put the water. You have to wait till the seed grows and it gives radicle and plumule, and then it starts slowly growing, then it gives the leaves, then it gives flower. We have to wait more time to give the fruits. But in case of vegetative propagation, what we are doing, we are just taking the part of the plant. It may be like stem or a root or a leaf. So that once you put into the soil, it will be already grown. Just if you put little bit of water, it starts growing faster and it gives immediately flowers and fruits. So the time of giving flowering and fruit in case of vegetative propagation, it will be less compared to the plants which are growing with the help of seeds. So this is the first advantage. Second one, this is the only way to propagate plants that do not produce viable seeds such as certain varieties of grapes, banana, sugarcane. So there are many plants which will not give the seeds or which will be not grown with the help of seeds, like some varieties of grapes, bananas or sugarcane. Then these plants, to continue the generation of these plant, this method is the best one. You maybe have seen in case of sugarcane, the stem only is used to grow the new sugarcane. Whatever sugarcane we have, that sugarcane will be cut into different parts and those parts will be again sown into the soil. If you put water, it gives a new sugarcane. So this is the method with the help of which we can keep or we can grow the generations of these plants like sugarcane or bananas. Third advantage is reproduction can occur without a second parent, which removes the need for mechanism like pollination. So we have seen in sexual reproduction we require two gametes. One is male, one is female. We require two parents, male and female. If we have a female parent, without male there will be no pollination, there will be no fertilization, you will not get any seed, and then there will be no new plant. But with the help of vegetative propagation, there will be no need of second parent. With the help of single parent only, by using the parts of the plant, we can grow the new plant. So that is the advantage of vegetative propagation. And the fourth advantage is the offspring are exact genetic copies of the plant parent or the parent plant. Means, as I told, here there will be no fertilization, no male gamete, no female gamete. So genetic variations will not be seen. We are directly taking the part of the parent plant and that only we are going. So as the parent, same like that way only the new individual will form. So whatever offsprings we are getting in vegetative propagation, those all will be exact genetic copies of their parents. So this is the advantage of vegetative propagation. But there are many disadvantages. So as I told, the fourth one, according to the environment, changing environment, we should have the variations into the new individual. If there are no variations, then there will be difficulty to sustain that plant into the coming changing atmosphere, and therefore in some cases variations are required. So therefore it has some disadvantages, but in this question they have asked advantages, so that's why we have wrote this all four advantages. So this is the answer for question C. So students, here we have completed the last question of part C, that is biology, and with this we have completed the first model question paper. This is the first model question paper of 2025-26. So here we have completed our first question paper, and now after this I'm going to start with the second model question paper of this year. So I hope you will get benefited from these all the videos. Watch all the videos, try to understand each and every question. If you are not understanding any question, if you have a doubt, then comment those doubts. And also, if you have any other questions related to this chapter or this model question paper or for your 10th science syllabus, you can comment it. Those all questions you can write in a comment. So I hope you understood these all answers. And for more questions, watch my next videos. So students, for more such videos, like, comment and share these videos with your friends. And if you are getting little bit benefit also from these all my videos, then please consider subscribing my channel. Thank you so much.